The following program is produced by Project Bait and does not reflect the views of this station.
I'm Mark Wells, and this is another Wells Report for My People. In past segments of For My People, I've discussed the media usage of the term post-racial to describe American society since the rise of Barack Obama to the presidency of the United States. Although by the time this segment of For My People airs, this latest footnote of post-racial America will have died down already. But I still think it deserves an analysis as it gives us another example of the American racial psyche. I'm speaking of the incident involving Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid's comments about the then Senator Barack Obama during his presidential campaign. In a book called Game Change, journalists John Hellman and Mark Halperin gave us some insight into what was going on behind the scenes during the 2008 Democratic and Republican presidential race. According to the authors, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid said that he thought that Senator Obama was electable because he was, quote, light-skinned, unquote, and because he lacked a, quote, Negro dialect unless he wanted to have one, unquote. Although the book is filled with interesting tidbits from behind the scenes of both sides of the aisle during the presidential race, this story was the first one to be blown up and scrutinized by the media. The topic of Reid's comments and the subsequent frenzy caused GOP Chairman Michael Steele to call for Reid to step down as Senate Majority Leader. According to Steele, if the tables had been turned and a Republican had made such a statement, Democrats would have been calling for his head. Let's take a closer look at this controversy and come to some sort of conclusion. First of all, in regards to Steele, the GOP's token head Negro in charge, his argument for Reid's resignation is about as strong as a deck of cards. Why? One of the main reasons that folks on the right are calling for Reid's head is because of the outrage that led to the resignation of Senator Trent Lott back in 2002. Back then, Lott made a statement that if America had elected the Dixiecrat Strom Thurmond to the presidency back in 1948, we, quote, wouldn't have had all of these problems over the years, unquote. Lott's comments were viewed as racially insensitive because at the time, Thurmond ran on a segregationist platform. The reason Lott's comments were so hard to defend was because given his past affiliation with pro-segregationist groups, it was difficult to argue that his comments didn't mean that he supported racial segregation. I would also like to apply Reid's statement that Obama lacked a Negro dialect unless he wanted to have one to GOP leader Michael Steele. In my view, Steele is in no position to raise a fuss about someone using a certain dialect if one chose to do so. This is the very same Michael Steele that announced he was planning a, quote, off the hook, unquote, public relations campaign. The very same Michael Steele that said Obama's stimulus plan was a way for some people to get some, quote, bling bling, unquote. When we consider Steele's conservative base, his obvious attempt to appeal to a younger, less white demographic comes off about as authentic as Pee Wee Herman at a Wu-Tang Clan concert. I don't have any problem with anything Harry Reid said because, frankly, he simply stated the truth. I have never met President Obama, but I'm sure that he doesn't speak to his boys in the same manner that he addresses the American people during a State of the Union address. Many of us who live in different worlds are able to seamlessly switch our demeanors and dialects to fit a given situation or environment. That's nothing new. Obama knew the image of himself that he had to sell to the American people in order to become president. I mean, let's get real. Which of these dialects do you think would be more impressive amongst voters for someone who was running for a major political office?
First got involved, and I got involved not as his lawyer, but...
For example, if you're an actor, high anger is one of the easier things to convey. You frown.
We was from Southside Jamaica, you know what I'm saying? A lot of kids over there was doing their thing, selling them things on the corner, you know what I'm saying? Yo, son, what's up, man? Man, hold something. Let me start tapping niggas' pocket.
For black political candidates, image is especially important considering the stereotypes and images of blacks that certain segments of our society continue to hold on to. Disgraced former Illinois governor, Rod Blagojevich, proved this a few weeks ago when he said that he was in fact blacker than Obama. In the February issue of Esquire magazine, Blagojevich argued that he was blacker than Obama because once upon a time he had shined shoes and grown up in a black community. In his statement, Blagojevich clearly associated poverty and certain types of jobs with black folk. But again, in mainstream Western societies, persons of African descent continue to represent the image of lower class status. This was proven in an episode of The Tyra Banks Show, where a group of viewers were asked to describe the status of two women, one black, one white, walking down the street with their 3 children. Although both women and all of the children were dressed well, the white viewer still described the black woman as the one most likely living on welfare. Harry Reid also spoke the truth about Obama's lighter skin possibly being an advantage with voters who may consider voting for a black candidate. Several studies have shown that not only is there a difference between how whites and blacks are perceived in society, there's also a difference between how lighter skinned and darker skinned blacks are perceived. In a 2002 study by Keith Maddox and Stephanie Gray, more people describe darker skinned blacks as unattractive, aggressive, criminal, unintelligent, lazy, and poor, while describing lighter skinned blacks as educated, motivated, and attractive. In 2006, Jennifer Eberhardt and associates found that judges gave darker-skinned blacks with more pronounced African features an average of 8 months longer sentences than lighter-skinned black criminals possessing less prominent African features. Other studies show that lighter-skinned blacks are preferred to fill job vacancies. In the political arena, yet another study by Jennifer Rothschild found that the probability of receiving votes increased by 21% for the more lighter skin of 2 black political candidates. Thus, given these facts, in reality, there should be nothing shocking about what Harry Reid said. Reid simply spoke about the America he knows exists, rather than the illusionary post-America that many want us to believe in. This is Mark Wells, and this has been another Wells Report for My People.
Funding for closed captioning is provided by the Rice Bowl Fresh Asian Cooking, located in the Millender Center in downtown Detroit, on West Grand Boulevard in the New Center area, and in the College Park Shopping Center, located on Southfield Road at Outer Drive. For more information, contact us at 313-963-3200.
If you have a business in Metro Detroit, you should be in the Detroit Black Pages. For info, call 961-3289. That's 961-3289.
Hi, this is Ron Scott, and each week we have an opportunity to discuss a number of subjects right here on For My People, which is a production of Project BAIT, Black Awareness and Television. We've had an opportunity to reach various publics, various people around the community. And most importantly, I talk to you from time to time. You see us out and about and say what you like about the program. And we encourage this. In fact, we've just instituted our new website, and we want you to take a look at it. In addition to that, we have the continuing effort to train a new generation of young people to continue the activities that Project BAIT started with so long ago. I'm glad to be in your sight and talking to you each morning and afternoon or whenever you see this program, when you watch Project BAIT and For My People in particular. Economics, politics, and consciousness. That's what we bring to you, and that's what we want to continue to do, because it's your program. It's about you. And we thank you for continuing to watch, and I'm Ron Scott, and I've enjoyed it and hope to continue to bring you insightful information.
On Street Beat, we put a focus on the community.
We simply set it out.
We go back to the days of some of the earliest talk shows.
I mean, we cover the issues that matter here in Michigan.
You're going to hear on Street Beat things you won't hear on other shows.
We provide critical analysis.
It's a made-in-Michigan product.
We try to get voices that you wouldn't see other places.
I'm Carol Kane. I grew up on the east side of Detroit.
I'm David Rambo, executive producer of For My People.
I'm Stephen Henderson, host of American Black Journal.
We're all made in Michigan.
The preceding program was produced by Project BAIT and does not reflect the views of this